This podcast is brought to you by Mapper Forward's new Patreon community, the Global Coffee Think Tank. Check the show notes or head to patreon.com/mapperforward to find out how you can become a member today. Welcome back to the final episode in our series with Willy. Willy, we are talking about coffee producing in Rwanda, and we've looked at how Brazil has influenced the price of coffee and the different logistics that have also influenced coffee production and coffee pricing out of Rwanda. We looked at the way that COVID impacted coffee producing in Rwanda and how it ended up offering the next generation of producers the opportunity to start solving problems and to step up. To finish this series, I'd love to have a conversation with you about what you believe the future of coffee producing is for the next generation of coffee producers.
Yes, thank you again. So I think for the future generation, for what I'm liking very much here in my country is that there is a lot of young generation coming into our industry. Yes, because right now, most of the coffee shops and the roasters we have in Rwanda, it's young generation. They are doing it very well.
So you have a growing local market in Rwanda of roasters and cafes. That's awesome.
And cafes, yes, and that's all is being made by young generation.
That's amazing.
Yes. So that's awesome.
So,
yes.
So
and then,
are you selling coffee locally, or are they getting coffee from outside?
No, they are getting coffee locally. So there is a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
She's a younger generation,
mm-hmm.
and then she has a cafe and a roasting company. And then she's paying good money locally. And then she's sourcing for good quality coffee.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that means I think here in Rwanda, I think the local consumption is increasing very, very much. And that's a good thing to see. And and that gives me an image of how it will be in 5 to 6 years in the future. I think that would be our some industry, coffee industry. Yeah.
I think that's going to be an interesting thing that countries who don't produce coffee are not thinking about yet. Because what we saw through the pandemic was that because of logistical issues, producers had to find another way to move coffee. And what they found was that they sold more coffee locally rather than overseas. And so we saw, what you're saying in Rwanda, we saw these industries start to flourish. Now, I'm assuming that it works well for you as a producer to sell to coffee outside of Rwanda so that you can earn in foreign currencies, in US dollars or whatever. But cultivating the local industry works very well for you as well, correct?
Yeah, and it's very easy because the understanding is the same.
And you don't have all these hassles of exporting coffee and having to deal with customs and things like that.
Yes.
You've definitely taught me something here that I didn't think about with regards to the future of coffee, because we're experiencing a lot of issues over the next couple of years because of the increasing price of inputs. And so as coffee producers come out and say that they are going to reduce the amount that they fertilize, we anticipate that this is going to lead to a drop in yield.
Yeah, a drop in yield, yeah.
That leaves countries like Australia, who, let's say, as Rwanda continues to grow in the way that it sources, it gives coffee to its local coffee consuming community, that leaves countries like Australia vulnerable, right?
No, not really, because
It's not a
I
bad thing for
think,
you. It's something that we should start thinking about from here.
yeah, but I think we are planting more coffee.
Okay. Right.
And I think we will be able to manage to export and for local consumption.
So you'll just continue to grow and flourish.
Yeah, yes.
Right.
And then even though there is a problem of high prices in fertilizers and other
Inputs.
other inputs, but I think we'll keep doing that on a daily basis as we used to do, and we'll keep increasing the coffee trees we have on our farms so that we can still export and consume locally. Yeah. So you don't have to have a problem about that.
I'll just call
Still be
Willy
having coffee.
and we'll get coffee from you, right? I appreciate you reassuring me about that. Tell me some more about what excites you about the future of coffee for the coming generation of business owners.
The coming generation. So I think the numbers we had here in Rwanda, the coffee farmers, most of the coffee farmers are 60 years and above.
Right.
So I think like young generation, me and others, some people my age are trying to penetrate the sector by farming coffee.
Is that easy for them?
Yeah, it's easy because in Rwanda, things are very straight. If you need to do something, you go buy a land, and then after buying the land, you start the process of planting coffee. So I think it's easy way to do it. So if I can see one of my generation or a person of my age trying to communicate with me and then say, Willy, you know what? I really feel like planting coffee. I really feel like entering the coffee sector. So that's something that tells me that in the future will be many people of my generation that are still supporting our sector.
That must excite you as somebody who has decided that they want to make their life in coffee.
Yeah, very much.
What excites you about it?
It's the way things are going. Because I didn't think of someone who don't have any other generation coffee, who don't know anything about coffee, but he do have that love of coffee.
Right.
That's exciting, you know?
Yeah, it sounds like it gives you so much hope and an excitement about the future.
Yeah, excitement about the future. That means I can all feel safe because I think as the number showed, because as I told you, 60 years and above are the coffee farmers we have in Rwanda. That means maybe in 5 years to come, it might be 40% of people who have 60 years and above. Right. And then the young generation will be taking over. So that's my thoughts of the future.
Are you seeing other people, your peers in your generation? And again, you're in your early 20s. Are you seeing people gravitating towards coffee? Are you seeing so your father is a coffee producer and your grandfather was a coffee producer. Are you seeing
yes.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yes, my grandpa was a coffee producer.
Yep.
My dad is a coffee producer, so me too.
And you're a coffee producer. In countries in South America what they're finding is that the children, the younger generation of coffee producers, most of them are choosing not to be coffee producers. They're choosing to go into the cities. They're choosing to go to university. They're choosing to get away from it because historically the coffee prices have always been very low. Are you finding that your peers who have their parents and their grandparents as coffee producers and maybe more generations, are you finding that they're having the same calling that you're feeling towards coffee?
Yes, they do. Like I know like two of them who are second generation, third generation, still doing the business. So I think, as you said, you're right. And that's the problem we're facing here in Rwanda. That's why I tell you that 60%, no, I mean, most of the percentage of coffee farmers are 60 years and above. The reason why is because most of their children, when they grow up, they want to move to the cities, they want to go to the universities, you know, as you say, that's the true fact. Yep. But like for me, I felt somehow different. You know, it's not only about coffee, it's about the connection of the community and you through coffee. You know, coffee connects a lot of people. I think what connected us, that's coffee.
Yes.
What connects me to a buyer, that's coffee. What connects me to a farmer, that's coffee. So it's still something I think can really make connection in an indirect way.
And internationally,
and
right?
Hopeful. Yeah, internationally. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
What do you think the next generation of coffee producers is going to do different to the generations that came before them?
Okay, I think we're going to explore more about varieties, more about processing, you know. So I think that's the idea behind. Because we did learn what our big generations did. So I think we need to have that innovation regarding the situation we're meeting, regarding how the markets want, the market demand. So we need to adapt that and then try to do something new. Yeah, because, you know, every generation has its own thing.
I'm very hopeful for the future of Rwandan coffee with people like you that are found your calling and are looking at not only maintaining the status quo of what Rwandan coffee is, but also cultivating innovation as a way to drive things forward and doing new things. It's very exciting. Yeah. And I really hope that you'll come back on the podcast and keep us updated on how things are going and help us explore the Rwandan coffee community further. It would be really great.
Thank you very much for having me today. It was a pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine, my friend.
Yeah. So, because, you know, I've been listening to this podcast for so long.
Oh wow!
You know?
Wow,
yeah, I've been listening to this podcast for so long, and then you have been featuring most of my, I think how should I say it? My I think motivators, you know.
Yeah. Your inspirations.
Yeah. My inspiration, people who inspired me most in this coffee sector were featured on this podcast. So I was saying about Wilfred Masters. I was saying about Ralph from the band. You know, later on, I felt like I'm going to feature on the same podcast. That was, you know, was kind of a dream. Yeah.
Well, I hope that you'll become a regular guest on this podcast. It's a real honor for me to have met you and to be talking to you at the beginning of your journey as a producer. and the beginning of your journey as an entrepreneur in a country that produces such beautiful coffees. And I very much am looking forward to having your career as such, kind of something that people can watch grow over the years through this podcast.
Yes, thank you very much.
It's my absolute pleasure. Willy, tell people how they can get in contact with you if they want to try your coffees and if they want to connect with you on social media.
I think they can just go to my social media.
Yep.
To my social media.
Yep.
Or they can go through the company's social media.
Yep. And we'll include links to everything in the show notes if anybody would like them. And we'll make sure that everyone has links and a link to the company website. So I encourage anybody who is listening to this, who is interested in tasting some really amazing Rwandan coffees, check it out. Check out what Willy and his family are doing, and let's keep supporting producers who are multi-generational and help them achieve some amazing success. Thank you again, Willy. Do you want to say peace, love, and peanut butter to everybody?
How? Like
peace, love, and peanut butter.
Peace, love, and peanut butter.
Peace, love, and peanut butter, everybody. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks, friends. If you enjoyed this video, here's what you should check out next. Consider supporting Map It Forward on Patreon and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell before you leave.